Okay. Welcome to Ohio Business Podcast. I'm Stephen Pohl, joined with Arminda, also known as Madison Russell. Thanks for coming on.
Hey guys. Yeah, thanks for having me, Stephen.
Now, you go by Arminda now, just correct?
Yeah, kind of whatever you want to throw at me. I went by Madison in Perrysburg just because my mom's name is also Arminda, to kind of lighten up the confusion there. But when I moved out here, I was like, let's try the real name. So Arminda it is.
There you go. So now you're not started, Visualize Creative is not in Ohio, but it is in San Diego, correct? Is that where you're located right now?
Yes. Yeah, so I mean, we're kind of not tied down to one location since we're only digital, which is awesome. But yeah, so kind of dreamed in Ohio, founded in San Diego, yeah.
Is that did you get your inspiration to start this through your mom and Big Daddy Graphics?
I would say, yeah, definitely. I mean, growing up with entrepreneur parents, I kind of saw the be your own boss lifestyle. And I definitely kind of knew that was something that always inspired me. And my parents have always been very motivational when it comes to kind of finding your own thing. And, you know, you can do it yourself too. You don't have to be working for somebody else's dreams. So I definitely think, yes, I would love to give all my inspiration to them because they have been great role models, obviously.
That's awesome. So I mean, I've worked with your mom. She made some great polos for me, and I will continue working with her. So she's great. But
yeah, she's totally the OG boss lady here.
Correct. So kind of give a description of Visualize Creative, what you've been working on, and kind of what you plan on doing.
Yeah, so Visualize Creative is kind of like a full-service social media management biz. What we do is we have about 20 packages. I'm about to revamp our website as we speak. Going through a lot of the nitty-gritty on that one right now, but we're doing stuff from content creation, influencer relations, political campaigns, paid campaigns, versus like social media advertising and all of that fun stuff. So it's kind of a one-stop shop if you're in need of somebody to kind of help beef up your social media. And then I also kind of want to dive into coaching a little bit. I do love to kind of just give pointers out. I'm a firm believer in community over competition. So I love to give insider secrets and kind of just help everybody raise their presence on social media since it's so important, especially during kind of the stay-at-home global pandemic thing.
Mm-hmm. Now, what was kind of your background that kind of got you into that?
Yeah. Okay. So my whole entire life, I thought I was not a creative, right? So I was a dancer. I did all of that fun stuff. I was a cheerleader in high school. Probably the last time you and I talked. That was all great. And then I started getting into social media by doing my parents' social media because they just kind of needed, you know, the young person on the team to rock out their social media. So I did get into it by doing Big Daddy Graphics. Shameless plug there. Everyone go give them a follow on social media. And it kind of tumbled into Visualize Creative. I mean, my background in school is public relations, so that was always what I was going to do. I was going to be a PR rep for a company, and then it kind of just curtailed into social media since there is such a big need for it. So flash forward, I finished my degree and moved out to San Diego, and I tried so hard to make it in PR, applied to a ton of positions, and everybody was like, well, can you do social? So I kind of started picking up the underlining theme there and just started diving into it head first, you know, figuring out when are the good times to post, how to read analytics, you know, what are the strategies behind social media besides just making it a pretty aesthetic board, and how can you relate that to marketing and how can you grow from it? So I learned a ton of stuff, kind of just baptism by fire, just because it was a need that people wanted, and I did kind of have an eye for it. So I think that's kind of how I swindled my way into this career, but I love it. It's definitely, I mean, I love PR too, but I kind of do a little bit of everything with social.
Mm-hmm. Now, you had a blog, correct? A travel blog?
Yeah, so I actually started, so I started that in college, actually for a class assignment. We had to build a WordPress site, and so I was like, okay, you know, I'm really into travel, and we could kind of pick whatever topics that we wanted to talk about. And at the time I was about to go study abroad in Spain. So I just started this little travel blog and it actually picked up. I was getting a ton of people getting traffic on my site and a ton of people commenting on it and saying, we want more. What do you think about this? And so that was another thing that kind of just snowballed. It started with a little class project, and I'm still working on it 3 years later. And it's taken me to some cool places. I got to take a biplane tour. I was totally crossed off my bucket list. We did those like barrel roll things. I thought I was going to die, but it was amazing. I mean, totally an experience I would suggest for everybody. But so I kind of do a little bit of everything. So I have my own personal brand, which is the Arminda, the travel blog, and then I do the Visual Creative as my boss babe side hustle here. But I guess now it's my full time. So
that's awesome. What would if, let's say somebody comes out to you like a business owner and they say, can you do my social media? Like they don't have anything. What's kind of your go-to? What do you think is like the hot social media right now? And what would be your plan of attack? I know everything's different, but if you like it generalized.
Yeah, good question. So obviously you have your 4 main networks, which is the Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So I always go through those, which niche, which platform is better for your brand. So a lot of the times if I'm working with very, fintech companies or companies that are very strong with like stock markets, for example, if Clay Financial were to come to me, I would definitely suggest Twitter because Twitter's so big with the investor world, and there's just a ton of conversation on there. So it's really good to connect with your audience if you're in those types of industries. Now, if you're an Airbnb coming to me, I would not suggest Twitter. I would suggest Instagram and something a little bit more visual. Instagram and Facebook obviously are owned by the same people now, so it does make that those 2 platforms kind of cross hand in hand. So, and then I always suggest LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I actually love. Everybody sleeps on LinkedIn, which I think is funny because there's so many people making profiles for it, for jobs, and nobody's posting to it. So if you think about it, the average person probably does have a LinkedIn profile, but they probably don't post to it like they do their Twitter, their Facebook, or their Instagram. So your organic reach on LinkedIn is kind of unmatched if you're a business trying to break into that scene, So because LinkedIn, the way the algorithm works, they want to show posts. They want to stay relevant on your feed. They don't want you to get tired of their app to exit to go search on Instagram. So they'll push as many pieces of content as they want to you to kind of keep you on that app. So I always suggest if you're trying to get a really good organic reach, if you're in a professional world, if you're a thought leader or anything like that, LinkedIn. I mean, it's my bread and butter. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So go ahead.
When I first started posting like just content on LinkedIn, it was just like crazy numbers. It was like, what the hell?
Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense, and everybody doesn't do it, Yeah. I love that. So you post to LinkedIn yourself as well. I mean, I see your little Clay Financials. I love it.
Yeah, I've definitely evolved what I post just as I post more, but LinkedIn has always been the one where I basically post. I throw like everything on it because I know if you post on it, it'll go to somebody's feed throughout the week whenever they check it because they check it. So straight like LinkedIn is the weirdest one, but I try to post there as much as possible.
Yeah, because you don't know when your content is going to go viral. That's what I always tell people. The biggest thing about social media is you just have to post. Everybody always overthinks. Oh, is this filter good? Is this aesthetic matching my grid theme? Or, is my caption stupid? Nothing's stupid. The only thing that's stupid is if you're not posting and you have content to post, So I love that idea. Just blast that out on LinkedIn, do some A/B testing and figure out what your crowd even likes,
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the times you'll be surprised because it's different for each platform. So any sort of content that you're making can always be recycled,
Mm-hmm. The one platform I have no idea how to use is Facebook. I just don't know like anything about it. It's just so difficult.
It's so ever evolving. It's kind of hard to stay up on it. But they do have a blog page, which is really nice.
Really?
So if you ever want to kind of get some Facebook tips, so does Instagram. Go to their website and go to like the creator or Facebook blog or whatever. I can actually share the link with you later, but it does give you a lot of good tips because I agree with you. I mean, I had Facebook, I think when I was 11. Actually, I know when I was 11 because I would have to log into my dad's Facebook. My parents were also ex-law enforcement, which Big Daddy Graphics was a retirement job kind of thing. So they made me wait till I was officially 13 because that's what Facebook guidelines made you be age, you know, to create a profile. So I used to have to log in through my dad's and chat with my friends there, but it's different since then. I mean, and I think, you know, our generation has always been Instagram savvy, but Facebook has definitely evolved. That's for sure. It's hard to keep up with. I agree.
Yeah, because where I get most of my clients is definitely through this podcast, and then Twitter.
Yeah.
And then I guess LinkedIn gets me a lot of the podcast guests. So Twitter and LinkedIn are definitely my
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, and that's exactly where your niche is, where your market is, you know? So that's awesome. Good platforms to focus on for sure. I mean, Instagram is always important.
Yeah.
I usually say just have it and point people to your main platform. So if you like LinkedIn and Twitter more, you know, have that call to action at the end of your post, be like, hey, go check out my LinkedIn or my Facebook or Twitter. So
what do you think about TikTok? Have you been, you know, messing around with that at all, or?
So yes, I shamelessly love TikTok.
Yeah.
And you know, when I first downloaded the platform, I probably downloaded it last summer, right when it was like, you still kind of just 14-year-olds dancing and stuff. And I was just like, okay, but these people are getting some crazy reach. So what are they doing? How can I emulate this on other platforms to kind of get the TikTok feel without only being on TikTok, you know? And so, I mean, TikTok is kind of the thing that blew up videos. I mean, video content is king. I always suggest doing video. If you're taking a photo, you can definitely easily take a 2-second video, you know? So I just studied the trends on it. And then I started seeing that actually there's a lot of educational content on TikTok. And the cool thing about it is that you can put in interest. And I know you can do this on Instagram and stuff too, but Instagram algorithm works a little bit better than TikTok's in my personal opinion with figuring out what you actually like as a user. But TikTok, you can enter in your interests. So what I've done is I just type in social media manager, social media tips, you know, and anything else like photography, beach life, whatever else I'm interested in. And then my whole entire TikTok feed changed from 13-year-olds dancing to, you know, to social media managers in London telling me, hey, these are the apps that I use, and doing their funny little videos. I mean, and it's captivating. I do like it. I think there is value on it. And I think there is a strategy, but it's definitely not for every business. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I never created an account. So I just get like just the main feed. I always like download it on Sundays because like I always find good music that way. So I will like scroll to bed, like try to find a song. I don't know. That's what I've been doing though, but.
I mean, it kind of, it's almost like a different culture because it brings up, I mean, a lot of artists have started on TikTok already. I mean, that Bored in the House song that got remixed with Tyga, that's crazy. I mean, that guy was just like literally bored in his house, banging his hand on a table, and now he's a rap star, you know, producing albums with Tyga. So it's crazy how much, you know, these new platforms and just not being scared to post onto them can do, you know, it can open up doors that you couldn't even imagine. That's the best part about social media. Everybody's connected, even if you don't think you are.
I feel I need to definitely try to post something more creative, like, because I know the Adobe Suite stuff, so I could probably do something a little more funnier, just like maybe more different than what I usually do on TikTok. But, you know, next time I see an app that's like hot and fresh, I'm going to try to definitely, next time I see one come out, if it does, but try to get on it fast because that you can really blow up. So
holy crap. Yeah. Well, and the thing about TikTok is that it used to be Musical.ly. Not a lot of people know that, like that app way back in the day when people would just dance on it. I mean, that's literally what TikTok formed into. So it is kind of funny. I mean, and I think a lot of the times our generation kind of used it as Vine when we first downloaded it, but it's a completely different world. I mean, it's kind of, it's almost like Twitter, but in real life, if that makes sense, because it's all about the conversations, all about the hashtag challenges and, you know, getting on what's trending and trying to be the next thing that's trending. So it is interesting to watch. I mean, I personally love just sitting back and seeing how networks evolve. Personally, I don't know how much longer Instagram's going to be around. I think people are kind of getting tired of it. But I don't know. I mean, Facebook just bought it, and I'm still surprised that Facebook is around. So, you know, you never know what's going to happen. I did just download this app called Hive. I heard a lot of beauty bloggers were posting to it. It's kind of like another version of Instagram. We'll see. But so far, I haven't seen any strong competitors to knock Instagram out of its spot, you know?
Yeah, Instagram, I feel it's so one-dimensional. Like people get, I know Gary Vee said this a lot, but like people, you only stick to what you get likes for. And it's usually just like, you know, I don't know, it's just so basic. It's so hard to just stay on there and like keep saying the same stuff. So
it is. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm still surprised social media is free nowadays. I mean, I know that Twitter is going to, or there was talks that they were going to do a subscription service. So I'm going to be curious to see who starts that, because would you pay for social media?
I would not for Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah.
But I feel they have better ways to market. To get in revenue, like Facebook ads it's a pretty nice service. So Twitter doesn't, their ads suck. Yeah, Twitter ads are
highly not worth it.
Yeah, I don't know how they make money other than selling data, I guess. But
well, and I think that's why they're like, oh crap, maybe we need to do a subscription service, because I mean, Twitter ads, I've never seen an ROI in them. So I definitely don't suggest that. But LinkedIn ads, those are good too.
Yeah, I've never dabbled in LinkedIn ads, but I thought about promoting the podcast would be nice. I think that would do pretty well.
That would go over great on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think so. But I think Spotify is going to take over YouTube here because of the podcast and stuff. Because they took over the Joe Rogan podcast. They got Michelle Obama on it, and if they have, they start doing videos on it. I mean, I don't like YouTube at all, so I think I would jump ship without. Me too. I don't like. I mean, YouTube has just been around forever, and nobody's tried to compete with them before. So I think that they just kind of got comfortable, you know, and then TikTok happened, and now they're trying to do the YouTube Reels or whatever to, you know, try to combat with TikTok. And then Spotify happened, and now nobody's listening to their YouTube playlist versus Spotify playlist. So yeah, I think they're just they're still trying to keep up, and I don't think it's gonna be long lasting. But I love Spotify. I do. I mean, even you can market on Spotify, you can do some crazy things. And the awesome thing about Spotify is that you can kind of look up whatever, you know. I mean, if you're interested in a business podcast, you can listen to that versus, I mean, I guess Apple Podcasts, you could do that too, but I don't really use that either. I mean, what are your thoughts? You're the podcast guy here. I would love to pick your brain on it. Well, I mean, I think Apple does a better job of highlighting podcasts through their featured section, but I think Spotify is going to start getting more people on it because it's a lot easier to adapt and they have different interfaces. I think it's a lot easier.
I think people are already on Spotify too. You know, it's so easy to listen to your playlist and be like, okay, now I want to listen to a podcast, and then go back to your playlist and back to your podcast. I mean, you can do that with Apple too if you're strictly Apple Music, strictly Apple Podcasts. But I don't know. I think I agree with you. I think the transition will be on Spotify. I'm excited. I love Spotify. So.
Yeah, I do too. I only use Spotify, but just from like putting podcast out there, it's way easier to do it on Spotify than Apple. There's a whole process with Apple.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's if they get, you know, more creators on Spotify, I think it'll win hands down. And then they got the exclusive of Joe Rogan and Michelle Obama. So I mean,
those are huge right there.
Yeah,
that'll bring a crowd. Yeah. That's awesome.
So how have you been trying to get clients? Are you doing organic? Are you doing anything paid? What have you been trying to do?
Yeah, so kind of a little bit of both. I do a lot of word of mouth. That's kind of how I started. So I used to just be a freelancer, especially when I moved out to San Diego. I was doing the contract work for Big Daddy Graphics still, and then just a few other places around them. And I came taxes time. I was like, oh crap, how do I do this? So I just made it legit. And so I tagged the Visualize Creative onto it. And there's a whole, I'm a big manifester, big into visualization, which is why Visualize came about. So I totally forgot what the original question was. I was talking around it.
How have you been, are you doing organic paid?
Yeah, so it started off of referrals, and then so now I'm doing some Facebook, Instagram ads, basically just the funny little gifs of myself, like moving back and forward, like, hey, do you want social media? Because the stupidest, funniest things get people's attention. You want to find that some stuff in content. As much as people love all your intricate pictures and, filtered this, filtered that, a simple meme is going to get their attention way more, because that's just how people work, Mm-hmm. I personally hate it because I love to be designing and intricate and everything is in place, but a meme definitely works, so I've been doing a lot of, DMing people. I mean, it's kind of the D-Rock method is what I would say. If you brought up the whole Gary Vee realm, I love him. He's kind of one of my biggest inspirations as to why I started to do this by myself. And, him and D-Rock messaged him and said, hey, I'll do this for free. And now look, it's Gary Vee and D-Rock, so that's kind of how I've been doing it. I've been doing like, hey, I love your social media, let me do an audit for you. And we'll jump on a quick 15-minute phone call. And here's what I can do to help your social media. So that's what I do a lot. I mean, audits, eventually I'll get paid to do them. But for right now, it's a foot in the door, it's how I start. Right. Yeah. It's how I start the conversation of, hey, I see your social media as a social media manager and a consumer. Here's what I would suggest, And then a lot of it is Craigslist ads, actually. Everybody, I've been getting a lot of DMs about that. And what else do I do? Oh, referrals. So if I do have a client currently, I'll be like, hey, if you want to continue your service with me, I'll give you a $50, $70, $100, depending on what their package is, credit if you give me, a signed client. So referrals have worked really well. I actually got that from my boyfriend is a recruiter. So they do $20 or $200 every time a nurse brings another nurse to his recruiting office or whatever. So it's like, okay, that's kind of genius, because who wouldn't want $200, And so I kind of formed it into a little referral program for Visualize. And so that has seemed to work a lot too. And just networking. I mean, that's like my biggest tip there too. Building a connection with your audience will get you clients. So, and putting your face to the name. I mean, I personally was really weird about showing my face on Visualize Creative because I had that Arminda blog, is what I call it, because I don't really have a name for it yet. So it was weird because I didn't want those two worlds to completely collide, but I do see by putting your face, giving the insider tips, like, hey, I'm working at 9 o'clock tonight, eating popcorn and watching Netflix while I'm doing designs, people can relate to that. And that's why you'll get those people to come back to you, because they're saying a name to the face instead of just a name,
Yeah, I think that's key. That's definitely needed. So
yeah. So I mean, I guess kind of just organic tips right now. I wish I had a wonderful funnel lead building system. I mean, maybe next time you interview me, I will. But as of right now, it's just kind of seeing what I can getting my name out there. I mean, I might go around and I just saw a chiropractor in my complex. I live in a kind of a huge dorm-like complex in San Diego, and there's like easily over 100 people here. And she just went around and did those little flyers and like take your number, and she was a chiropractor. I mean, all of those things that I've seen, it took a week for all of her little flyer things to be pulled. So, and I totally looked and I was like, okay, if that works, I'm going to do that. So
there you go.
Yeah, well, so who knows? Maybe we'll go back to OG guerrilla tactics here and go put some flyers out. But yeah, I'm down for anything. I mean, anything to get your name out there. I always try to talk about it, promote it on my own social media now that I can. I'll definitely cross promote there. But yeah, I mean, what do you do? How do you get your clients?
Definitely, I've been doing the memes a lot because finance is so boring, right?
Yes. Well, and it's like anything can be turned into a meme. Well, okay, I didn't mean. Oh no, I lost my air, but I didn't mean to say it like that. But
I know what you mean, but
No, but
memes. Yeah.
it's intense, and the memes help. Everybody loves a good meme, even in finance.
I try to structure it where it's like a complex topic, but just like in a meme, because it forces people to like, people will read the meme and absorb the message somehow. And usually it resonates. Like that's where I usually just post it to Twitter, and like that gets me a lot of traction on Twitter. So
yeah, and it's the funniest thing too. And you know, when you're making it, your mind is going, there's no way people will like this, you know? And I think the first time I posted a meme, I had such bad anxiety. I was like, oh my God, my client's gonna fire me. Like, this is not funny, you know? And to me, I was dying laughing as I'm making it because I thought it was funny. I posted it. It was like their best engagement post. I was like, okay, memes once a week at least.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree. Yeah.
So I usually go by the 411 rule. So it's, you know, one post promotional, one post salesy, as in like, here's my package that's on sale. And then 2 posts, you'll do the community engagement post, which is like a tip to help other people in your field, or like a meme to like make fun of what you guys are doing. You know, for social media managers, I just saw a meme actually last night, and I thought it was hilarious. It was us as 90-year-olds, and since we're always like on our computers like this, it was just like a 90-year-old lady with like a really teched out iPad, and she had like the weirdest hump right here because they're like, this is what we're all going to look like when we're 90. Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's so relatable because I do this all day, you know? So funny, got my attention, totally got my thumb to stop scrolling. So
yeah,
it works.
I feel like I have a competitive advantage because like I feel finance is super regulated. Like when you said you did that referral thing, like I wish I could do that, but I don't think I can. Unless it's with a lawyer or something. So that's extremely difficult. Like,
oh, wow. Yeah.
And then memes, I feel like no financial professional is doing that unless it's on Twitter and they have like a blog. But so I feel like I have a leg up in that regard, getting like younger people. So, you know, that's what's working. That's what's working. So,
yeah, I mean, and honestly, I always suggest, you know, make sure you're following back the consumers and clients and followers that you're getting, because those are the people that are interested in your feed, you know? So see what they're posting. A lot of the times it'll just be pictures of their dog, or like a picture, like the last picture they posted is going to be in like 2017 or something, you know, but that's totally fine. They actually used it, and you can see, you know, did they like memes? Did they like, you know, are they outdoorsy? What can resonate with each one of your followers? Because a lot of the times people will just get the followers and forget about them. You know, those are your base. Those are the people you want to interact with the most, because they'll boost your content. So the other people that you're still focused on will see it then, especially with the algorithm. You know, so I love that. I mean, I think if it's working with your current audience, keep pumping out those memes.
What has been, let's just kind of a strict question, I guess. What has been your biggest success doing this and biggest mistake so far?
Cool. Okay. So doing like Visualize or social media? Visualize. Okay.
Maybe both, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Whatever you want to do.
Okay. So I'll have 2 answers for that. One with Visualize and one with just like social media successes and dips. So Visualize, I started, like I said, I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. When I moved out here, I had no network. I knew my boyfriend that I lived with, and that was about it, you know? So finding a job in San Diego was kind of difficult. I went through a lot of MLMs and a lot of, a lot of scam interviews for sure, you know? But my biggest suggestion with that too, especially with people looking for jobs now, you have the weird feeling going in to the interview, the weird feeling is normally right, okay? So if you're like, okay, this company is a little odd, but I need a job, I'm just gonna go interview, let's see. If you have that feeling, you know, go to the interview, get that practice, but no, it's not, that feeling is right, you know? So I went through a lot of those, and then I got my job at my full-time job downtown. And I told them, you know, hey, I love this. It was kind of like a startup. It was really in a kind of tricky niche where I've never worked in it before. We are in the emerging market, which is basically cannabis in California. So it was really difficult for social media because I couldn't legally promote anything. So I can't do paid promotions. I couldn't sell anything. So it made me focus a lot on community building and organic practices, which I'm very thankful for, because I think that is something that a lot of people don't do, or slash don't want to do. Because they think, oh, I'm just going to pay, I'm going to boost this post, I'm going to make these ads, I'm going to pay for my Instagram to be, or pay for my social media following, to grow. But it goes down to your organic practices and how you kind of relate to your audience. So that was really cool, because it got me to really focus and polish those skills, if you will. And that's kind of what got me into influencer marketing, because obviously that is the way around it, building an influencer program, getting your name out there organically, even though you're just, hey, here's product, if you want to take a photo and post it on your Instagram, that would be great, type of thing. So that was kind of a challenging thing, but it was also a pretty good growth period for me as well. And then when I first started there, I told them, hey, I love this. I love the startup feel. I want this. I want to do this myself. I want to have my own business. And, kind of told them by the end of the year, I'm launching this thing called Visualize Creative. I guess I didn't have the name then. I was going to call it Apostrophe Media at the time, because my name has an apostrophe in it.
I like that idea. That's pretty cool.
Thank you. Yeah. So there's two names I was juggling there, and Visualize I just kind of landed on afterwards. But so at the time I was like, I'm going to do this thing called Apostrophe Media. Like, hopefully this won't, change anything, but these are my plans. This is my 5-year goal. This is my 10-year goal. I had everything mapped out. And I think in the interview that was really exciting for them to hear, that I had professional development plans. But I also don't think they thought I was actually serious about it. So when it came down to, that December, I did a little soft launch. I put up my website, and I got my business license. I was making it legit, right? And I got in trouble from my boss. So it was, not really in trouble. It was more of just like it was over Zoom, obviously, because the pandemic hit. So I soft launched in December, and then I got a very long Zoom call, I think come February. So it was up for like about 3 months, and I was starting to gain traction. And I don't think, I never double dipped. I am yours from 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 or whatever I am. I will make sure you get the best amount of work. I will even work on the weekends for you, if you need me to. But on the side, I'm going to, do this Visualize Creative thing. So I think, especially with the whole Zoom communication and everybody going remote, and I wasn't in the office anymore, it was kind of bringing up maybe some suspicions that I was working only on Visualize and not on my full-time job. Who knows? We talked it out. It was totally fine. But, later on, I did get laid off 2 weeks ago. So, and it was around the time that I started reposting onto Visualize Creative again. So, I am very thankful for my opportunity at my full-time job. I grew so much. I met amazing people. It gave me my network down here. I was able to do a ton of great bucket list things when I was there. But I think both of the paths are ready to kind of transition. And I asked the universe, I said, let's visualize this. Let's manifest it really quick. What should I do? I'm willing to start this thing, right now. Let's try it. And that Friday, it was the day. So kind of crazy how it happened. Business entrepreneurship is never easy, and taking the jump from a 9 to 5 is scary. Like very intimidating, because, you have that comfort there. You have that guaranteed paycheck every week or every 2 weeks, whatever you get paid, but you also are kind of limited in what you can do. And I was gaining traction fast, getting promoted, but it was not the Visualize life that I had. So I transitioned to the Visualize a full time, and I've loved it. The past 2 weeks have been probably the best 2 weeks of my whole year so far. Nice. I'm networking like crazy. All of my coworkers that I loved at my old job are still very supportive, and so is my boss. So we did get over the bumps, over the humps, but it definitely played out in a way that I didn't think was going to play out so quickly. But I'm happy it did. So I guess that would be an up and a down, or I guess that would be the down slash up, because now I'm starting my own thing and I love it. You know, being your own boss is everything I imagined and everything I dreamed of. I'm sure you know it's amazing. But yeah, I mean, and then as for social media, what is a good up and down? I love the fact that I guess now my job is getting validated more so than ever. When I first started social media, it was almost like, oh, okay, you can do social media and you can do PR and you can do marketing, you know, which is great because I learned how to kind of be camouflaged in the workplace. You know, wherever you put me, I can work. But now everyone's like, no, just stay on social media. You know, like through PR, through marketing, we need social media. You know, so I love the fact that. I mean, I hate the fact that the pandemic happened, but I love the fact that it happened because it also really validated my job position. You know, more people are like, I can't talk to my audience anymore. My consumers are gone. My clients aren't coming into my office. What do? You turn to social media. That's where they are, you know? So it's really cool to kind of see how my career is ever evolving and how it's increasingly becoming more, you know, yearned for, but that's cool. So, but at the beginning, it was kind of a dinger. So that everyone's like, oh, you're just posting pictures on social media. You know, that's not marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I'm like, well, there is a strategy. There's analytics. I mean, I don't just post a picture just to post it. I mean, I'm posting at your optimal time. I know when you're on social media, and I also know when your best friend Gary's on social media. So I'm going to obviously post it when you both are interacting with each other, you know? So, because you can get pretty creepy with what you can find on social, which is why, you know, everybody got in trouble with the whole politics thing in 2016. So they did tighten up the privacy policies a little bit better, but it's still pretty easy for a marketer to target you. So I think that's the most exciting thing about social media is that we're ever evolving and it's getting increasingly more in demand. So it's only up, you know, social media is not going to go away anytime soon. So if you're not adapting to what the world is adapting to, you're going to be outdated, you know? So those are like, I guess my favorite things about Visualize Creative. I'm happy that I'm doing my own thing, being my own boss. Entrepreneurship is hard and stressful at sometimes. You know,
it's a totally different game when your back's against the wall. That's for sure.
Yeah, right. So you're like up on a high. You're like, great, I signed two clients today, and you know, 2 hours later they're like, oh, by the way, maybe we can wait until like the end of this year to start. You know, and it's with any gig. You just gotta understand that it's a roller coaster and it's not a smooth flight. You know, but that's also the exciting part. You know, because roller coasters are exciting. It gets you pumped. You never know when the dip's gonna come. Sometimes it comes when you don't want it to, and sometimes it comes when you're totally prepared for it. You're ready, and you're saying we the whole entire time. So, I don't know. It's fun.
Nice.
So, I guess that's to expand your question like 20 minutes later. That is like the
that's
top
awesome.
and bottom. I talk way too much, so if I'm like ranting, just be like, yo.
You're my favorite guest. That's I love not talking. So
yeah, I'm like, just let me know. Just shut up, Arminda. I won't be offended.
We will. Last question as we wrap up. What would you say to entrepreneurs out there, people just trying to start out? What would you say?
I would say jump for it. Do it. You know, roadmap your goal. You know, I knew I wanted to do the whole entrepreneur thing. I knew social media was probably a good start. I was also good at writing and journaling. I was a journalism student, you know, who knows? But find your thing, roadmap to your end goal, you know, and just start, because nobody's going to start it for you. Nobody's going to be like, hey, you should do this and just leave this job. Leave your comfort zone. You know, get comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's the only way you can grow. That's my biggest advice.
Beautifully put. How can people find you? The socials, the websites. How can they find you?
Yeah, so it's visualizecreative.co, not com, for website. So make sure you take a peep at that. Like I said, I am doing a little redesign. So, but it's still up and live, and you can still chat with me on there. Visualize Creative on Instagram is my main profile. So make sure you give that one a follow. And and Arminda at visualizecreative.co. If you want to shoot me an email, let's work together.
Perfect. Thanks for coming on.
Yes, thanks for having me. This is so much fun.
I want to introduce you guys to the Ohio Business Podcast first sponsor, Nextdoor. Want to earn extra cash with your extra space? There's an app for that, to Nextdoor, the marketplace for your storage space. Nextdoor is currently taking on new hosts like me. Simply visit their site, nextdoor.com, nxtstor.com, to get the app. Just think what an extra $200 a month can mean to you by simply storing your friends' boxes and mattresses. Once again, check out nextdoor.com. Thanks. The Ohio Business Podcast is sponsored by Jansen Media. Jansen Media is a website design and digital marketing agency. They develop custom strategies and solutions around client goals and business objectives. From day one, they have been focused on results, building websites that deliver more online traffic, more conversions, better user experience, easy navigation, and web functionality. You can find Jansen Media on their website at jansenmedia.com. That's spelled JANSCEN media.com. That's jansenmedia.com. Thanks.